Let's kick it into high pace. Grab your mates, it's time to unlock NHL Bar Talk.
Layup, get the damn hoop.
We go shot here.
The easiest I've ever to answer.
I'm actually gonna go crazy. I'm gonna buy everybody around.
We're all in this game, let the good times shake.
And welcome back, everybody, to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk, where we're gauging our confidence on these NHL topics based on our choice of drink. So confident you're buying around, so have beer. Oh, God, I need a shot. And play along down in the comments below. And as usual, whenever I'm plugging this, always plug Boss Croakers. Go down for Wing Wednesday. 40-cent wings, $4 Miller Lights, or Yinglings, $2 tacos. And it's always a good time. So let's start with a guy that kind of surprised and turned a little bit of heads last year for the New York Rangers. We know one guy's a skeptic on it, and me, but Ty Cartier, you look at his numbers with Seattle, 40 games played, only 8 points. That was not good point per games. However, when he went to the Rangers, whereas that's what it should say with NYR.
Yeah, I was just about to try to go to correct that.
Yeah. With NYR, he had 24 games and 14 points. So, Phil, and let's just get that right there. Boom. There it is. Phil, Ty Cartier will reach 45 points next season for the Rangers.
Shot. I don't think he plays in the top 6.
Okay.
Don't see it.
All right. So, that's enough for that analysis.
Yeah. If he plays in the top 6, there's problems. You don't want that. So, no, I don't see it.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go with shot on this. Let me also give this caveat. I don't know if it's real chemistry that he had with JT Miller, or if it's just like they needed a body, they threw it in there, and it actually worked for a short time. It wouldn't work for like a prolonged period. Maybe Cartier is one of those guys that he's a puzzle piece that just fits well with Miller, and the two games complement each other. We're going to see about that because also good.
He shot at 18.5% with the Rangers. That's not sustainable.
Yes, I agree with you on that, but a lot of it was rebounds, deflections, stuff like that. It's just, can he be a type of guy that grinds it out? I mean, the third guy on that line with them was Connor Sheary last year, and he started to produce more when those two were together. I am going to still say it's going to be shot. I forgot if I put it up too. I don't have the faith in him right now. And as you were trying to temper my expectation or lack of expectations last year, we still kind of don't know what he is, because he's one of those guys that was drafted around COVID and it affected his development. So maybe he could develop into something more, but I'm having trouble seeing it right now. But if you tell me bottom 6,
he wasn't drafted.
It was after his like junior career was affected by COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because he was drafted by Seattle in the first round, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, sorry.
He was undrafted. He was a Sioux Greyhound, and he actually missed the full year of juniors in 2021. So he was one of those players. He would have been drafted likely in the 2018-19 or 2019-21 draft, or 2019-2020 draft, the Lafreniere draft. But he went undrafted. He played 3 years in the OHL, missed one of his years. He had a nice, first pro year with Coachella Valley, which was Seattle's AHL affiliate. And then he came up, had a decent first year with them at the NHL level after a good playoff for them. And then it's just his development's kind of been up and down. I think there's a player. I look at it this way, and this is why I always say I don't want to hear anything about culture wins. because a lot of the times these are garbage time wins that happen when rosters are resting their players and they're kind of coasting into the playoffs. So they're going out there and they're playing without pressure. Like, what's going to happen when he actually has to play for something against teams that are going to shelf, full lineups? They're gonna send out their best guys. It's not like that anymore. So that's why I can never get behind culture wins. They're stupid.
Yeah, I also do think that you can't just go out there and tank either. So culture wins, they don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, you're right about that. But on the other hand, you need to see people and you need to be able to evaluate. I think we learned a lot about Gabe Perreault at the end of last year, regardless of the situations. I don't think that same is true about Ty Cartier, though. And it's on a case-by-case basis. By the way, again, I'm just going to admit my folly and my brain fart thinking he was drafted. And not only that, drafted highly. It's just dumb. But I think the Rangers still have a lot more work to go with this. And this is where the Oliver Bjorkstrand signing actually might be a good thing, because he's going to be on the second line. He's going to grind it out. I just don't know if he's a guy that's going to play well with JT Miller. We're going to find out about that very shortly. Let's go over to the New York Islanders, Phil, and they made news as they signed their first round pick, and was actually drafted in the first round, Multi Gustafson, to a 3-year entry level deal at 1.5, so 1.075 AAV. But Multi Gustafson will make the Islanders before Keyshawn Aitchison.
I think I'm going to go a little bold here and say round. I think Aitchison might have the higher ceiling, but I think Gustafson has the higher floor. And I think if Gustafson doesn't work out, he's probably something close to like a Carl Gunnarsson type. He's a reliable 4 that's a good skater, that's got range and length, and just plays solid defense. I don't know about Aitchison in terms of like where he can stack up if he doesn't make it, or if he doesn't pan out to what he should be or could be, because a lot of his game is offense. His game is offense. It's physical. He kind of reminds me of Trouba in certain aspects. So if the offense doesn't translate at the next level, is he a Radko Gudas type? Is he a Jacob Trouba type? Like a modern day Jacob Trouba type, not 2019 Jacob Trouba. Like, is he that type? But I think Gustafson is a pretty sure bet to be like at least a 4 or a 5, and a solid one at that. A guy that's a real good skater, has an okay shot, is rangy, lengthy, just smooth skater, and just effective back there in his own way. So yeah, I like Gustafson as a pick. I don't know if I would have taken him there. I think it would have been better value if he went a little later, but that's where a lot of mocks had him. So, the Islanders followed the board pretty well. They got the guy that they thought that was their guy, a guy that could come in and be a compliment to somebody like Matthew Schaefer. Like, could you imagine having him next to Schaefer? Gustafson's 6'3", 6'4". He's probably going to play in the NHL at well over 200 pounds. I would say like 210, 215. Like, if you got 2 guys that are at least 6'3" that can skate like that and can move the puck, like, that's a pretty damn good pairing.
Yeah, Folk, you kind of took the words out of my mouth with this. I think Gustafson's going to be a very reliable defensive defenseman, making lots of good plays for the Islanders for years to come. I think he's going to be very steady. And I'm trying to think of a guy to even try to take off the Tampa roster to compare him to. but it's I'm having trouble just trying to think of one right now. But I think that's what might get him up faster. Now, with this contract, it's still possible for him to go back to Sweden, right?
Yeah, I mean I wouldn't rush his development. I think that they believe that he may be ready, but I don't think you'll see him this year. I don't think you'll see either of them this year personally. I think Aitchison needs some time. I think he needs Aitchison really needs to play pro for a while before coming up, I would say. And I think Gustafsson, if he looks good enough, maybe they'll try to bring him over, but who knows?
And the other thing that kind of factors into this, Bill, because the Islanders' contract situations on their defense. I mean, everybody might be frustrated as all hell with Scott Mayfield, but you can't just take him and bury his money. And D'Angelo's got his fresh new deal. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Alexander Romanov, he's one of those guys, though, that if he's healthy, he's going to be fine and in the lineup. So that might prevent both of these guys from coming up. And I think with Aitchison, because like you said before, he's more offensive, they might hold him back a little bit more because they might not need that. They might need the steady defensive player. And that's why I'll go around on this one too. And I think Gustafsson might be up first, if even for a cup of coffee, if he stays in North America and if he's in the AHL. But that's not going to be the case. But ticket prices are all over the place. I used to waste hours comparing sites until I discovered SeatGeek. Here's the game changer. They actually rate every ticket so you can see which seats give you the best bang for your buck. I've used it for everything from Rangers games to concerts like Billy Joel and comedy shows like Nate Bargatze. The app shows you the view from your seat before you buy, which is honestly genius. No more guessing if you're stuck behind a pole. Whether it's sports, music, or comedy, SeatGeek covers thousands of events. Stop overpaying for mediocre seats. SeatGeek. Let there be live. You know, Phil, let's look at the Devils in the goaltending depth. You got Jake Allen and Nico Dawes. Nigel Dawes, Jesus. I almost went back 20 years, everybody. But Nico Dawes, who's right there. And I'm just looking at that goaltending, Phil, and I'm feeling bad for Devils fans right now. But as constructed right now, the Devils will miss the playoffs. The banner's going to switch. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I could go beer probably on this.
Okay. We'll get more out of Philk in 1 second. But I guess we'll go to me. As constructed, round. And a resounding round. Phil, let me go to why you're saying it's a beer.
It depends on the health of the team in front of them. I mean, they have talent, don't get me wrong, but a lot of their talent is considered health risks, really, when you look down to it. When it comes down to it, I mean, Jack Hughes is a health risk. He never stays healthy. You know, they don't. I look at that roster and they have really 4 forwards that you could think of that are like proven legitimate top 6 forwards. Timo Meyer's been a disappointment since he's come to New Jersey, so it's 3 that you really rely on. Dawson Mercer has to take the next step. Arsenij Gritsuk looked good last year, but does he take that step this year? You're really going to rely on Evan Rodriguez to step up and be a number 2 center, or a top 6 winger, or a top 6 center. I mean, they don't have a lot of scoring depth outside of maybe 5 players. The rest of their 12-man unit is just, it's not good. Stefan Nason hasn't been the same player. Connor Brown hasn't been the same player. Cody Glass is not the first-round pick that he once was. Nick Bukestad is a 4th liner. Jesper Boquist, 4th liner. So But Dougie Hamilton on defense, can he stay healthy? Can Brett Pesce stay healthy? And just what I was talking about before earlier on when we were talking about the defensive units. It's just their defensive unit can be dismantled with one injury practically.
Yeah, and that's why it's a good thing they're holding on to Dougie Hamilton for right now if they were trying to jettison him. I mean, Connor Brown with 18 goals and 25 assists. I'm a little bit shocked by that one from last year. But Timo Meier, Phil, you said it best. Timo Meier has just been such a disappointment. They need to go out and get a goalie. And I know that there is people that are saying, "Oh, hey, you could always just go with Nico Dawes." I don't see that as the best option for number one. And we all know Jake Allen can't really carry the full load. He'll play 30, 37 games, maybe even 40. He'll have good numbers and then maybe drift off a little bit. Dawes for his career has got I'm just getting his career numbers real quick, everybody. Dawes for his career, 55 games played, 24 wins, 2.96 goals against, and an 8.98 save percentage. Is that supposed to fire you up and let you know you're getting into the playoffs? I don't think so. And he's only played 9 games in the last 2 seasons. When he played 25 and 21 games the previous couple years before that, one of them was 21-22, the other one was 23-24. So there's a gap in between that. He was 8.93, 8.94 in the save percentage, 3.11, 3.15. That's not going to get it done, not the NHL level. The Devils are not making the playoffs as they're currently constructed. This is not right now a good team, but at least Sonny Meta is recognizing that, and he's trying to change everything completely. That's why the Devils need to just not tear it down and start over fresh, but when you get some of these pieces, you're gonna have to figure out what to move out and then what to move in. And one piece that's going, and a very familiar piece for the GM that's going there, John Davidson has been hired as the senior advisor to the Buffalo Sabres. Phil joining Jarmo Kekalainen. This will be the 3rd time they've been together. They were together in Columbus, and I believe JD's the one that brought him in Columbus. Then JD left, and then he went back to Columbus, and now JD's going with him. But they really didn't win much. So even with Buffalo turning it around, the Jarmo JD combination spells doom for the Sabres.
No, I'm going to say shot.
Okay.
I'm going to say shot. I think this Sabres team has kind of turned things around. The guys have really kind of lived up to their potential now. I mean, they've got some real good pieces going forward that'll keep them there. I think Kevin Adams being gone really has changed the air in Buffalo, if you will. So I don't see this. It's not like Columbus where they don't have a lot of options. They don't have a lot of talent. This is a talented team. I mean, really, goaltending is one thing that holds them back right now. But then again, what if they get Connor Hellebuck?
Which is the same thing I could say about the New Jersey Devils, by the way.
Maybe. I mean, the Sabres don't have the health issues that the Devils have, though.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Hughes goes down, that entire team is screwed. Because
that's literally what happened last season.
Yeah, and every year that it seems like that they've been down, it's a Jack Hughes injury.
Yeah, Phil, I'm not going to project the lack of success in one place and compare it to here. Although I do, JD's got a lot of hits. He always wants to mention Alex Pietrangelo. whenever he talks about his successes. But also we do have to mention Brandon Schneider as one of his failures. I do think that the Sabres turned things around, and I think the guy is a good breath of fresh air. I'm not gonna poo-poo on it and say that if Buffalo suddenly goes south, this would be the reason. But they're dealing with a far more talented roster on there, and a roster that's on its way up. So I'm gonna go shot on this. I do have to say, when the pairing's been together so many times, you wonder whether or not they can exist on their own, or are they just like just symbiotes that they just gotta just like latch onto each other, and one person's success is going to replicate with the other one. I don't know. I'm just the spitballing on that one. But I do wish all the best to JD with the Buffalo Sabres, and hopefully he gets the success he's looking for out there. Because when you get success, you get paid. And Dave Pagnotta is reporting that Quinn Hughes and the Minnesota Wild are working on an extension that could pay him north of $17 million. Millions and millions of dollars. And that would make him the highest paid defenseman in the NHL. And depending where that falls in, it could make him the second highest paid player, period. Philk, Quinn Hughes' extension with Minnesota will make him the NHL's highest paid player.
I'm going to go round. I think they might have to go north of 18 to get him signed. I think, and it's gonna absolutely tank Minnesota. I think. I don't think they're going to have the money or the space to be able to do what they need to do otherwise, because they're going to be very top heavy. I mean, we literally get two comments at the same time saying Suter all over again. But it's one team, guys. Sorry, but yeah, I think he's going to get the most. I mean, he's that good of a player. You're going to have to pay him. So, I mean, if he wants to win, I would say take a little less. But these guys have egos and they want to get paid. And yeah, again, I don't blame them for taking the money. You work your ass off your entire life. You give up your social life and everything like that to make it at this level and play this sport professionally and basically get paid millions to play a kid's game. I mean, who wouldn't love to do that? But sometimes following, Tom Brady or Jalen Brunson or someone like that who took less to build a team around them is, if you want to win, sometimes it's the way to go.
Yeah, well, in the case of Tom Brady, he, I think, deferred a lot of his money. And you could argue, well, you get a guy that defers their money than making more in the long run, having it deferred to them. And I'll always point to Bobby Bonilla, who had a similar deal with the New York Mets, and I believe it was the Baltimore Orioles that he was able to defer money and get a good deal out of that. Sorry. But you look at this, Phil, it's got to be a shot. It's got to be a shot. I'm sorry. If you're going to pay him north of 17, I have no problem with that. That's where the cap's going. He is an elite defenseman. I think that's insane. You're going to be paying two players on your team $34 million. And let me just give you a different team. I'm just going to spitball real quick. That you have another team that's out there in the NHL who's got four players you could sign for that money and have money left over. And that would be the Montreal Canadiens, because they got Nick Suzuki at 7.8. You got Cole Caulfield at 7.8. Yaroslav Slafkovsky at 7.6. No, Lane Hudson at 8.85. And then they still were able to get Ivan Demidov right now with 9.15 coming next year. This is insanity to just. And look, I'm all up for getting more money to the players, getting elite players signed. But you should have a star player, and the minute you start throwing money away, it's gone. It's gone. Like right now, the Rangers, using the Rangers as an example, because they just signed Dorofeyev to an $11 million deal. He's making more money than everybody on the team except Igor Shesterkin, and he's going to play a lot more games. If he scores less than 30 goals next year, that's a big problem, because you better produce. And now you got stars that I'm not sure if, mentally speaking, they might have the right headspace. I think about guys that signed huge contracts. We'll use Carlos Beltran, for example, again with the New York Mets. His career low in home runs during his prime was that first year with the Mets. You look at Theo Fleury, who was coming off a great year with the Avalanche and a really good career, comes over to the Rangers, scores his career low goals in a season while he was still in his prime. He did recover. He was leading the NHL in points, I believe, when he had to go to rehab. But this, you got to come in, you got to perform. And then, by the way, if you're going to bitch about being booed, then you don't deserve the money. Because, by the way, the boos come with it. Not that he's going to get the boos in Minnesota, but this is going to be other markets too. And the same is going to be true a little bit, who knows, for Leo Carlsson. But Anaheim fans might be a little bit more forgiving, knowing that he's not an $18 million player yet, but he's going to be. So it's just, I wonder about GM spending the money because you said it best, Phil. They're going to hamstring what this team could do and rely on two guys, and they got to bring their A game every night. I don't like it. And you look at what Montreal's done. That's the better new template, and we're going to see probably more of that around the league. Guys trying to lock up guys early to avoid this stuff. And in the case of Quinn Hughes, he can't be Sidney Crosby and say, "Oh, only pay me," or like his brother, like only pay me $8.6 million for forever, because after all, his number's 43, so can't really do that. All right, Phil, the other news that came out this week, Maccelli was named the NHL 27's cover athlete. He was fourth in the league at 115 points. And he has been absolutely dynamic, great on social media too. And we all know about Matthew Schaefer as well. But, Phil, Macklin Celebrini will surpass Connor McDavid as the face of the NHL.
Shot.
Okay.
No. I don't know where this would come from, but no.
Mm-hmm.
No. You just... McDavid's a generational talent. I mean, he'll probably be the guy that takes over after McDavid's kind of like out of the spotlight. Sure, but surpass as in like right now? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, even if I wanted to try to say right now in the near future, I can't even sell this right now. I did say something like that on Twitter, but I was just hyping him up. I will go as high as beer on this one, because the thing that really is going to separate Celebrini from maybe McDavid, and but his team's on the rise. McDavid's team is on the fall. McDavid's going to be going elsewhere.
McDavid might, and I was going to say, even if McDavid's team is on the fall, he's probably not in Edmonton after this contract. He's probably not. And there's a chance that he can come to a market like New York or LA or Philadelphia or something like that, where he's in a big market in the United States. And now all of a sudden, at 30 years old or whatever, you're seeing a generational talent in a big market finally. So,
however, remember what your nickname is for him.
McJesus.
I know, but as far as his public face,
oh, Captain Cardboard. I mean, still, he's going to be the guy that's going to be on all of the billboards. If he goes into a big market, yeah, he doesn't have a great personality in terms of he's a Ty Domi or a Sean Avery or an Alex Ovechkin or someone like that, where he's going to give you sound bites and stuff. But no, dude, he's the guy. And if let's just say somehow he signed with the Rangers, that would do crazy things for hockey.
I agree with you 100% on that, Phil. And what I'll also say with that is I think if he signs with an Eastern team, because when people talk about the East Coast bias, is because most people go to sleep by the time the West Coast games are on. So it can't just be if he goes to LA, he might have some positive effects that we're all going to be excited about, but it's not going to be as much as, say, if he went to Boston or even I'm just spitballing some of these teams. Let's say if he went to one of the Florida teams or something like that, which would be insane to even think about him on one of those teams. Jeez. Oh, boy. But you know what? You would get more exposure with him. And I think he could do that he could elevate a smaller market in the United States to greater success. Just which team is going to pony up the dough to go get him? And Phil, especially with the Leo Carlson deal, do you think Celebrini and McDavid are going to be making over $20 million AAV in the next contracts?
Yeah, I mean that's where the cap's going.
For these guys, that's the reason why you increase the cap. And again, I still say you don't have to go spend the money if you don't want to. All right. Guys, that's the end of Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk. Sorry, I kind of stumbled through it today.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.